Welcome to Lesson 11 of Story-Based English. This is the beginning of the B1 Plus section, which means the stories are getting a little more complex and the grammar a little more advanced. You are ready for this. In this lesson, two friends are climbing a mountain covered in clouds. The question is, will they reach the summit? By the end of this lesson, you will know 10 new vocabulary words, and you will understand how to use the future continuous tense, a tense that lets you describe actions that will be happening at a specific time in the future. Let's begin.
Okay, here is our first sentence. Listen carefully. By this time tomorrow, Kai and Priya will be climbing toward the summit, battling thin air at an altitude most people never experience. Let me read that one more time. By this time tomorrow, Kai and Priya will be climbing toward the summit, battling thin air at an altitude most people never experience.
All right. What a powerful opening sentence. Let's break it down. First, the word summit. A summit is the highest point of a mountain. When a climber reaches the summit, they have reached the very top. But summit also has another meaning. A summit can be an important meeting between leaders. You might hear about a global summit or a climate summit on the news. In our story, summit means the top of the mountain. Now, the word altitude. Altitude is the height of something above sea level. If you are on a plane at 10,000 meters, that is your altitude. If you are on a mountain at 5,000 meters, that is the altitude. At high altitudes, the air is thin, which means there is less oxygen, making it harder to breathe. Now here is the grammar. Look at this structure. Kai and Priya will be climbing. This is the future continuous tense. The future continuous describes an action that will be in progress at a specific time in the future. Not just they will climb, but they will be climbing. Right at that moment, the action will be happening. The structure is subject plus will be plus the ing form of the verb. I will be working at 9 tomorrow. She will be sleeping when you arrive. They will be traveling next week. The key idea is that at a specific future moment, the action will already be in progress. It started before that moment and will continue through it. Think of it this way. I will cook dinner tells you the plan. I will be cooking dinner at 7 tells you that at 7 o'clock you will find me in the middle of cooking. Can you make a sentence about what you will be doing at this time tomorrow? Great. Great start. Now let's learn more about Kai and Priya's expedition. Here is sentence 2. They had planned the expedition for months, but the weather forecast kept changing, and Kai warned that conditions at the top would be shifting hour by hour. One more time. They had planned the expedition for months, but the weather forecast kept changing, and Kai warned that conditions at the top would be shifting hour by hour. Oh, the tension is building. First, the word expedition. An expedition is a long, organized journey with a specific purpose, usually exploration or research. Climbing a mountain, exploring the Amazon, or traveling to the Arctic. These are expeditions. An expedition is more serious than a trip. It requires planning, preparation, and usually a team. Now, the word forecast. A forecast is a prediction about what will happen, especially about weather. When you check the weather on your phone, you are looking at a forecast. We also use forecast for finances and business, an economic forecast, a sales forecast, but the most common use is weather forecast. Notice something in this sentence. Kai warned that conditions would be shifting. This is actually our future continuous tense used in reported speech. In direct speech, Kai probably said, conditions will be shifting hour by hour. But reported in past tense, will be shifting becomes would be shifting. This is a very natural and advanced use of the tense. When you report what someone said about the future, will be becomes would be. She said she would be waiting for us. He mentioned he would be traveling next month. Can you think about something that keeps changing in your life? Maybe the weather, your schedule, or your plans? Things that keep shifting are hard to predict. That is exactly the challenge Kai and Priya are facing. The weather is unpredictable. Let's find out what Kai and Priya face on the mountain. Here is sentence 3. While Priya will be navigating the treacherous ice fields, Kai will be managing the ropes and checking their endurance levels at regular intervals. Let me read that again. While Priya will be navigating the treacherous ice fields, Kai will be managing the ropes and checking their endurance levels at regular intervals. Now, this sentence is perfect for our grammar lesson. First, the word treacherous. Treacherous means extremely dangerous and unpredictable. A treacherous road is one where you could slip or crash at any moment. A treacherous ice field is a surface that looks solid but could crack or be very slippery. Treacherous can also describe a person who betrays you, but in this story, it describes the dangerous mountain terrain. Now, the word endurance. Endurance is the ability to keep going even when things are difficult, tiring, or painful. A marathon runner needs endurance. A mountain climber needs endurance. Any long, hard challenge requires endurance. Think of endurance as the opposite of giving up. When your body says stop, but your mind says keep going. That is endurance. Now, the grammar. This sentence shows a beautiful use of the future continuous, parallel future actions. While Priya will be navigating, Kai will be managing. Two actions happening at the same time in the future. This is one of the most powerful uses of the future continuous. It lets you paint a picture of a future moment where multiple things are happening simultaneously. For example, while I will be cooking dinner, my wife will be helping the kids with homework. Two actions, same time, in the future. Or, while the boss will be presenting, the team will be preparing questions. The word while is the key connector here. It links two future continuous actions that happen at the same time. Remember the difference from sentence 1? There, we used future continuous for one action at a specific time. Here, we are using it for two actions happening in parallel. The tense is the same, the application is different. Let's take a quick break and review what we have covered. We have learned some excellent vocabulary. What does treacherous mean? Right, extremely dangerous and unpredictable. And what about endurance? Exactly, the ability to keep going through difficulty. For grammar, we have been exploring the future continuous. Can you remember the basic structure? Subject plus will be plus verbing. And we have seen it used for a single action at a specific time and for two parallel actions with while. Excellent work. Let's continue. Here is sentence 4. Priya was determined to continue, even though she knew that by nightfall they will still be climbing, exhausted but unwilling to turn back. One more time. Priya was determined to continue, even though she knew that by nightfall they will still be climbing, exhausted but unwilling to turn back. This sentence shows real character. Let's look at it closely. The word determined. If you are determined, you have made a firm decision and nothing will stop you. A determined person does not give up. They push through obstacles, tiredness, and fear. Determination is the noun form. Her determination was impressive. Being determined is not the same as being stubborn. Stubborn is negative. You will not change even when you should. Determined is positive. You will not give up on something important. Now, the grammar. This is a great moment to understand when to choose future continuous over simple future, will. They will still be climbing by nightfall. Why future continuous here instead of they will still climb? Because the future continuous emphasizes the ongoing nature of the action. At nightfall, the climbing will already be in progress and will continue. It is not a decision or a plan. It is a description of what the moment will look like. Compare, I will call you at 8 means you plan to make the call at 8. I will be calling clients at 8 means at 8 you will be in the middle of making calls. The simple future with will often sounds like a spontaneous decision or a promise. The future continuous sounds like a scheduled, ongoing action that is already arranged. Here is a useful way to remember. Will is about plans and decisions. Will be doing is about the scene, what the moment will look like when it arrives. Priya's determination is incredible. Let's see if they make it through. Here is sentence 5. When visibility dropped to almost zero, Priya held Kai's hand and whispered that they would be standing on the summit before sunrise, triumphant and alive. Let me read that again. When visibility dropped to almost zero, Priya held Kai's hand and whispered that they would be standing on the summit before sunrise, triumphant and alive.
This is one of the most emotional sentences in the story. First, the word visibility. Visibility is how far and how clearly you can see. On a clear day, visibility is high. You can see for kilometers. In thick fog or heavy snow, visibility drops to almost nothing. Visibility is very important in aviation, driving, and mountaineering. Pilots check visibility before flying. Climbers check visibility before moving. Now the word triumphant. Triumphant means feeling or showing great joy and pride after a victory or achievement. When you finish something incredibly hard and you stand there feeling powerful, you are triumphant. A triumphant smile, a triumphant moment, a triumphant return. The word carries a feeling of victory after struggle. Notice the emotional power here. Priya whispers a promise using the future continuous. They would be standing on the summit. She does not say they would stand. She says they would be standing. That gives the moment duration and vividness. She is painting a picture of a future scene. The two of them standing there, triumphant, alive. And remember how the summit vocabulary connects back to sentence 1? In sentence 1, they will be climbing toward the summit. Now in sentence 5, Priya promises they would be standing on the summit. The journey from climbing to standing is the arc of the whole story. The future continuous makes both moments feel vivid and real, even though they have not happened yet.
Let's read the final sentence and see if Priya's promise comes true.
Here is our final sentence. Listen carefully. At dawn, they reached the top, and as the clouds parted, Kai asked softly, "Will you be remembering this moment when we are old?" And Priya smiled at the endless horizon stretching before them. One last time. At dawn, they reached the top, and as the clouds parted, Kai asked softly, "Will you be remembering this moment when we are old?" And Priya smiled at the endless horizon stretching before them.
What a perfect ending. Let's look at this final sentence and our last grammar point. First, the word horizon. The horizon is the line where the earth and the sky appear to meet. When you stand on a beach and look far out to sea, the line between the water and the sky is the horizon. Horizon can also be used in a more abstract way. New horizons means new opportunities or experiences. Expanding your horizons means learning new things and growing as a person. Now, the grammar. Kai asks, "Will you be remembering this moment when we are old?" This is a very special use of the future continuous for polite or soft questions and emotional inquiries. Kai could have asked, "Will you remember this moment?" That is a simple yes or no question. But "will you be remembering" sounds gentler, more thoughtful, more emotional. The future continuous can make questions feel less direct and more polite. In everyday English, you might hear, "Will you be using the car tonight?" instead of "Will you use the car tonight?" The continuous form sounds softer, less like a demand. This is very useful in formal or polite English. "Will you be attending the meeting?" sounds more professional than "Will you attend the meeting?" "Will you be joining us for dinner?" sounds warmer than "Will you join us?" So there you have it. 4 uses of future continuous in one story. Actions in progress at a future time, parallel future actions, contrast with simple will, and polite or emotional questions. This tense is more versatile than most learners expect, and now you know how to use it in all these ways. All right, now that we have broken everything down, let's listen to the entire story one more time, from beginning to end. Just listen and follow along. By this time tomorrow, Kai and Priya will be climbing toward the summit, battling thin air at an altitude most people never experience. They had planned the expedition for months, but the weather forecast kept changing, and Kai warned that conditions at the top would be shifting hour by hour. While Priya will be navigating the treacherous ice fields, Kai will be managing the ropes and checking their endurance levels at regular intervals. Priya was determined to continue, even though she knew that by nightfall they will still be climbing, exhausted but unwilling to turn back. When visibility dropped to almost zero, Priya held Kai's hand and whispered that they would be standing on the summit before sunrise, triumphant and alive. At dawn, they reached the top, and as the clouds parted, Kai asked softly,
Will you be remembering this moment when we are old? And Priya smiled at the endless horizon stretching before them. And that was our story for this lesson. What an incredible journey.
And that is a wrap for this lesson. You did outstanding work on your first B1 Plus lesson. Let's look at everything you learned. Vocabulary, you learned 10 new words: summit, altitude, expedition, forecast, treacherous, endurance, determined, visibility, triumphant, and horizon. 10 powerful words. Grammar, you mastered the future continuous tense in 4 different ways: actions in progress at a specific future time, parallel future actions using while, the difference between simple will and the future continuous, and using the future continuous for polite, soft questions. The stories are getting more advanced, and so is your English. Be proud of yourself. Head over to the quiz section to test yourself, and try the role play section. Use the future continuous to describe what you will be doing at different times this weekend. See you in the next lesson.